Welcome. It is the 25th of February in the Heclapar versus Wirraway playback mail campaign. Looks like some undefended bases in India are flipping. It's good. More mines swept at Balikpapan. More submarines. With pretty severe damage. One guy 22. Have to withdraw my submarines from those vortexes. They've done what they could do, which is identify the type of ships that are going out of there. So you have float planes, and according to that recon, Allied recon is still snooping that area around Balikpapan. Remember where we left off last turn. We're going to start moving our carriers back through this area, and we want to eliminate his eyes so he doesn't know the carriers have moved. I could have sent them north around the Philippines because he doesn't appear to have any naval search that direction. Uh, but he could easily redeploy float planes to Miri or other bases in north of Borneo now that I'm about to take his southern Borneo bases. And so I would put my carriers right into their search pattern. And there just isn't much flak over Mandoing, so I think I'll start lowering my altitude. Yep, still something. But I think I can risk lowering my altitude uh, without taking unacceptable losses. Two things could be going on there. He could be low on supply, or in our attacks at Bandolin, we could have damaged some of his AA units enough that it's his flak is notably less dangerous. A-17 operating about popping. It's pretty hefty hit. One of the biggest disadvantages of playing with the house rule, you cannot move units across borders without paying PP, is the Manchukuo artillery cannot be employed in China for a long time because it's so expensive to buy out. So I'm very short artillery in China relative to what most Japanese players would experience. Hmm. He's moved forces over time from Clark to Manila. He's now over 1100 AV at Manila. Let's see how our attack at Samarinda goes smoothly, but the key is what happened to the oil. Another thing I did, I used a lot of the artillery that normally goes to the Philippines to make up my artillery deficit in China early on. So I'm still struggling with a pretty significant artillery deficit at Clark. Probably haven't balanced my forces as well. I've been emphasizing infantry units and army units, obviously, over artillery, but it's left my units, particularly at Clark and now at Changsha, um, under supported with artillery. Even though I reinforced with two equivalent of corps artillery battalions at Clark, I'm still suffering very one-sided losses. They're not significant and they're overstated. I generally the units recover as quickly as he damages them, and I lose a squad here and there. But you know, it's a structural problem that I've created. Okay, so what we didn't do last turn, I thought I might as well start off with it, is let's check and see how our submarines are doing. So we had a number damaged. Uh, so row 61 was the most significant damaged, 959. Uh, you know, this isn't particularly dangerous with the low system damage. She'll make port and be repaired. Vector oil, Samarinda. Yep, pretty good. Typical damage. Now that we're done with this operation, shift our recon to look at Terracon, but he's is whatever, whether they're float planes or bombers or recon, their reach isn't very long here. And as I talked about before, my options for getting my carriers redeployed from Victoria Point, they could hug uh, the coast of Vietnam and avoid his recon, but limited. He's definitely operating some naval search here, you can see. But I could probably slip it by north or suppress his remaining aircraft at Bandawing. I have the bombers to do this, particularly as his flak seems to be failing, and take out the recon that's at Terracon or suppress it, and then slip the carriers this way. Um, he hasn't shown any. I've watched these bases to see if the last of the dot bases, see if he's got any base units or ADPs hiding there. He hasn't shown any tendency to do that, um, but that is another option. I allowed myself to become a little distracted in terms of cleaning up these dot bases. That's potentially a mistake. We'll find out soon. Um, I can work on cleaning those up now and see if I can get enough of them cleaned up to further reduce the risk. But right now, just because of his style of play, uh, I think I can slip. I'm confident I can slip my carriers back through without them being noticed, at least from um, units operating in this area. Let's check in India. So we're going to move on Asansol, take it and its heavy industry, be prepared to defend it, uh, move on Jessore with paratroopers to complete our encirclement of Calcutta. It's got this artillery unit that I like to run down. And then, as we talked about, prepare for a division drive on Warangal, core level 3 divisions on Calcutta, and 1 division in reserve that I may, prior to the end of March, use in Ceylon. My goal is to be able to free up the 2 divisions plus that are operating to reduce bandowing, and eventually I'll have a matter of a little over a week, 5 divisions on the Philippines. Once I've driven it back to Batam, I'll just let them rot and use what amounts to 7 divisions as a push on Bombay. That's the plan for the coming months. The alternative is to use those 7 divisions in Northern Australia. Could be done. And given his decision to treat as far as he has in India, that has some merits to it. But really, if you're going to fight in India, you got to fight in India. No real change in our approach from China. Uh, just about ready to make another series of attacks here, and a main battle for Changsha, and our supporting operation down towards Wuchao. Okay, well, I'll look forward to our next chance to talk.